Hey there, super fans. I was talking on Reddit, and a couple of people said they wanted me to make this video, so I figured I'd film it real quick and put it up and see what you guys think. Um, this is my theory on Superman, and you are welcome and, in fact, encouraged to disagree with me. Let's argue about it. I don't give a shit. I have been a Superman fan for a very long time. I haven't kept up on the latest comics. It's actually been quite a while since I've been actively involved. But that is an original from, what, 94? That's a Snuggie, obviously. I've got Action Comics reprint. Let's see, I've got Death of Superman, Invitation to Lois and Clark's First Wedding, Superman 500 sealed. This is just the beginning. I could go on. Point of the matter is, I know a little bit about what I'm talking about. And what I'm talking about today is Superman's power. This is my headcanon. Oh, by the way, this shirt, I was probably 60 pounds heavier when I got it, so you'll have to excuse me. It's a little bit looser than what I'd wear today. So Krypton. Krypton was a super Earth, close in on a yellow sun. It was extremely high radiation, extremely high gravity, with a lot of post-uranium elements in the crust. These dynamics led to the evolution of Superman's ultra-dense six-stranded DNA in order to reduce any additional radiation damage from the environment. Because the environment was so high energy, Kryptonians evolved to have a form of super powerful photosynthesis, right? Absorbing broad spectrum energy directly from their environment. This includes nuclear rays, alpha, beta, gamma. Such a post-uranium, such a density of post-uranium elements in the crust meant that they were just constantly exposed to nuclear radiation and became able to absorb it and defend themselves against it. This also resulted, because of the gravity and the energetic environment, resulted in evolving an ultra-dense body. And part of that ultra-dense body, denser than stone, denser than metal, essentially full body, high, like heavy element mineralization. And that basically transformed the entire body into an energy battery where cells convert inbound energy into matter density. And because this was such a high energy environment, and their evolution drove so much capacity to manage energy absorption, they also then evolved directed energy manipulation, kind of a reverse photosynthesis to release energy on command. This energy manipulation capability basically gave them limited anti-gravity powers, kind of like an ion thruster, right? Like an energy flow creates the ability to oppose gravity to some extent. And because this was Krypton was a super Earth, the gravity was so heavy that it was basically impossible for simple things like jumping without some kind of energy assistance. Winged flying was basically impossible without energy assistance, and directed energy emissions solve for all of these. Now, much like mitochondria evolved super early in Earth life, this kind of directed energy management and absorption evolved very early in Kryptonian rootstock, which is why basically all Kryptonian life has it. We haven't really seen any examples of Kryptonian life of any kind that doesn't have energy absorption and manipulation capabilities. So the intensity of the energy environment drove evolution, supercharged evolution, extremely intense mutation, but because of that, it slowed the evolution of intelligence on planet Krypton until relatively late in the planet's history, whereas with Earth, we evolved intelligence relatively early. Um, Over millions and millions of years, the orbital dynamics of Krypton caused it to spiral further and further and further out from the sun, their sun, and as Krypton was slowly migrating away from the sun, which was later in its life cycle than our sun is, was dimming as it aged from yellow to red. Their photosynthesis basically existed in animal life as well as plant life. And as the orbit became more distant, as the sun dimmed, then evolution drove their photosynthesis to become more efficient, more broad spectrum, more capable of absorbing energy from any source, and more capable of re-emitting energy, as needed, in the same way that we emit energy by moving our bodies. It's innate. We don't really think about it. We just do it. So once uh, Krypton started to evolve intelligence, the Kryptonians then uh, engaged in genetic engineering to further optimize and improve the genetic gifts that were already inherent to essentially all life on Krypton. This led to the gene wars. They started using their innate powers and, perceived a real superiority, at least genetically and with their physical talents. They used those powers to conquer other local civilizations, including Kryptonian offshoots that had relocated to other planets and other star systems. This tension between conquering and cohabitating with others, it created internal strife that resulted in factions, and eventually one of those factions created a virus that trapped Kryptonians on the planet, which is kind of where we usually come in Kryptonian history. That had the effect of ending wars, but it also kept them from being able to harvest resources as their civilization aged, their power demands grew more intense. The sun was weaker, not only because it was aging into a red giant, but also because it was the planet was continuing to spiral further away, which meant that they depleted their planet's energy reserves. Solar energy was no longer nearly as effective, and so they started fracking the crust in order to access all of those nuclear materials and high atomic weight materials that were just inherent in Kryptonian geology. Much like we do fracking now by pumping questionable things into the Earth's crust to get access to the oil, they had to pump even more questionable things in order to get access to the heavy elements. And as they were doing that over a very long period of time, they accidentally catalyzed a chain reaction among these high energy elements in the crust, which essentially ended up creating a nuclear chain reaction, which, the planet exploded. We all know that part of the story. And Kal-El was, sent in a ship to Earth. Well, the thing about that is that Earth's yellow sun is comparable to the state of the sun whenever Krypton was much closer in, and when the Kryptonian sun was much younger. So that means that, even as Kryptonians evolved this enormous efficiency for absorbing solar and nuclear radiation in order to harvest and scavenge what little was left by coming to Earth and returning to basically Krypton's original orbit distance, Krypton's original, less energetic, but still high energy environment. Um, that means that Kryptonians of any type, whether human style Kryptonians or animal Kryptonians, have way more energy availability on Earth from the yellow sun than they ever had on Krypton, and all of these mutations and evolutions that they needed just to survive mean that they are wildly more powerful when they're on Earth. So, Earth has significantly lower gravity because the planet just isn't nearly as large. So Kryptonians are proportionally a lot stronger. They have physical capabilities that are just wildly beyond what humans have. They're basically made out of, much denser materials. Their bodies have evolved to be to have significantly higher energy density and material density. We're mostly made of water, and they basically take that water and transform it into extremely dense, high energy materials, and then just pack it full of all of the energy that they can absorb from the environment. So we have a much lower gravity environment, so they're just stronger, significantly more dense in general, more capable, and because they have this supercharged broad spectrum photosynthesis, plus they don't really have to use much energy to survive on Earth compared to surviving on Krypton, whereas humans are just kind of bags of water with a little bit of protein sprinkled in, a little bit of calcium. We're really low density, we're really low durability, and all these things combined mean that Kryptonians proportionally are just unfathomably more powerful than humans are. It's not magic, it's not really even superpowers, it's just evolution and the consequences of the planet and environment that Kryptonians evolved in. So anyway, that's my headcanon, that's my spiel. Thanks for listening.